Hello, this is Lady Boulay, and welcome back to Black American Lineage. Thank you for your support. Thank you for all you do to support this channel, and thank you for going on this journey through our past and our present. Today, I'm talking about this interview that Katie Couric did with Bryan Stevenson. Bryan Stevenson is a lawyer, a social justice activist, and law professor at New York University School of Law. But most importantly, he is the founder and executive director of the Equal Justice Initiative Museum in Montgomery, Alabama. Now, he advocates for the poor. He's a criminal justice advocate for minority teenagers who have been given death sentences or life sentences, and he has been able to get those sentences reduced. But his biggest claim to fame in Alabama, and that is my home state, is the museum that he has set up in Montgomery. And in this interview, he explains to Katie Couric how America cannot move forward until it confronts its past. And it's our past, the slavery past, that America keeps trying to forget, rewrite, erase, and so forth. It's a very interesting interview. Unfortunately, I can't play it because it is copyrighted material. So I am going to pin it to the comment section so you can see it. But I am going to tell you what they talk about in the interview, and that is what this video is about. America keeps trying to skip the chapter it never read. Bryan Stevenson is saying here, you cannot build a just future on top of an unacknowledged past. This country wants progress without accountability. That is what he's saying. It wants healing without honesty and unity without truth. When he talks about slavery, he's not just talking about forced labor. He's talking about a system built on brutality, terror, and the denial of Black humanity. A system that didn't end in 1865. It evolved. It became lynching. It became Jim Crow. It became mass incarceration. It became the narrative that Black people are dangerous, we're inferior, and disposable. And the reason America can't move forward is because it still refuses to confront the intentionality of that violence. It wasn't random. It wasn't accidental. It was policy. It was culture. It was the architecture of the nation. And they spread this abroad. We keep asking, why does everybody dislike us? That's why. America has propagandized the world and told the world that we're dangerous, we're inferior, and we are disposable. And people believe that even as America bombs them and poisons them and genocides them, they still believe that we are the bad guys. And it's just amazing. And the trauma done to Black Americans whose family members were enslaved wasn't just physical, it was psychological, generational, and political. It shaped how Black people were seen, how laws were written, and how opportunities were distributed, and how violence was justified. And here's the part that people don't want to hear. You cannot move on from something you've never actually faced. America wants closure without confession. It wants reconciliation without repair. And that's where reparations comes into play. What Bryan Stevenson is saying in this interview is quite simple. Truth is the prerequisite for transformation. If you don't name the harm, you can't fix the harm. If you won't acknowledge the violence, you can't stop the violence. If you won't confront the narrative, you can't rewrite the future. This conversation matters because Black people are still living inside the consequences of a story this country refuses to tell honestly. He goes into depth about the racial terror that Black Americans have faced in this country. He talks about lynching not as an isolated act, but as a national system of control. Lynching was the bridge between slavery and mass incarceration. It was how America enforced white supremacy after emancipation. After the slaves were freed, they still wanted to control the formerly enslaved people for what? For their labor. So, what was the system of control? Lynching. Lynching was a social order. From the 1880s through the 1950s, more than 4,400 documented lynchings took place. And those were just the ones recorded. These killings weren't done in secret, they were done in public. They were advertised. People brought their children. Photographs were turned into postcards. That's how normalized racial violence was. It was a social event. A lynching was a social event. And there are pictures of white people standing around socializing and eating peanuts and talking and children playing where black men and sometimes women have been lynched. Lynching was the social order. And the purpose of the lynching wasn't just to kill a person, it was to send a message. Black people must remain in their place. White violence is lawful. Black humanity is negotiable. This is the narrative that Bryan Stevenson keeps pointing to, the lie that justified centuries of brutality. And then he talks about state complicity. And here's the part that America still refuses to confront. Lynching wasn't just mobs, it was sheriffs handing over prisoners. It was judges looking the other way, like they do now. It was politicians refusing to pass anti lynching laws for decades. The federal government didn't outlaw lynching until, wait for it, 2022. That's how deep the denial runs. America does not want to confront these crimes. It wants to say, no, black people are just violent. Black people are just dangerous. Black people are just anything negative. Anything to keep from admitting that what they did to black people was wrong. And even we say it sometimes. Oh, well, we just have to do this or we just have to do that. We can't. We can't be good enough. We can't be righteous enough because the system is a mess. So when Bryan Stevenson says that America can't move forward without confronting its past, lynching is exactly what he means. You cannot build justice on top of unacknowledged terror. You cannot claim progress while refusing to name the violence that shaped the nation. America keeps trying to outrun a history it has never even faced. When Bryan Stevenson talks about confronting the past, he's also talking about confronting the story America tells about itself, a story that was deliberately edited to protect white innocence and erase black suffering. For decades, school textbooks have described slavery as a labor system and the enslaved people as workers and the Civil War as a disagreement over states' rights. They erased brutality, or tried to. They tried to erase rape, family separation, and most of all, terror. They even erased resistance because black people always resisted that system. They erased our humanity. America didn't teach what happened, it taught what made people comfortable. So when Bryan Stevenson says America can't move forward without confronting its past, he's not being dramatic, he's being accurate. Every time America refuses to face its history, it creates a new version of the same harm. You cannot heal what you refuse to name, and you cannot progress while protecting a lie. And that is the lies that they have been telling themselves about America. The museum that Brian Stevenson has built in Montgomery is really a memorial. And he built this memorial because America has monuments to enslavers, Confederate generals, and segregationists, but almost none to the people they terrorized. And he says you cannot move forward when your public memory honors the oppressor and erases the oppressed. And I agree with him. He is actually a very powerful speaker, and you will enjoy the interview. I have talked about a lot of the background, but he gives you an optimistic view of what he believes in and what he's doing. So please watch the video that's linked to the comment section and have a good day.